Okay, we're going to start in just a minute. I'll give it another couple minutes for a few more people to come in. Um, I don't know, for those of you that don't know me, I just started at Leland, and I actually have my spouse works at Leland as well, so he's joining us as well, and we also have a client or two in the audience, so I'm really appreciative of them of coming today. So yeah, this is awesome. It's just joined Leland about a month ago, so I'm very excited about the first event. Like I said, let's give another minute or so to get a few more people in here. Everyone's starting to arrive now. Prompt attendees are always appreciated. Thank you for the early joiners as well. So I wasn't sitting here alone in my room waiting. It feels nice to know there's at least a few people on the line. Okay. Thanks for adding your chat, Jesse. That's cute. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's kind of slowly start here as we wait for a few more stragglers, hopefully. So obviously, we're an AI and your MBA application, do's and don'ts for your written content. I'm M. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here. It's my first Leland event. I'm really enjoying the platform so far. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate your time and energy you're spending. The beginning, we spoke to Carla, who's Tokyo time, so it's the middle of the night for her. And I know there's people early morning, so I really appreciate you making the effort to stay up late or get up early or take some time out of work and be here. So let's see. I think that's good. Now I've got a few people coming in. So let's start with a little bit about me. Um, I really appreciate anyone who doesn't mind putting their camera on. It's really nice to see some friendly faces out there. So that would be great. But also, if you're not comfortable having it on, I understand as well. And along the way, feel free to add comments and unmute your mic and just speak up if you have something to ask. Because, it's just great to get questions along the way. You might forget them by the time we get to the end. And yeah, it's cool. I don't mind being interrupted at all. So yeah. Oh, cool. There's Jess in my next room now. So nice to see you here. Thank you. So yeah, as far as more about me, I've been a professional MBA coach for 8+ years. I love it. I meet so many interesting people from around the world, and I get to take part, a small part, in their amazing journeys. So this really has been a calling for me. I'm just so happy I found it. On a personal note, I've lived around the world. I've lived in over 12 countries, visited another few dozen, and I just really love cultural exchanges, the diversity, what you learn about yourself and others as you see a different perspective of the world. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, 100%. Um, and I love all parts of the MBA application process, of course, but I'm kind of started in the essay game because I really find it interesting to have to put everything you feel about your life and yourself and your vision, your goals in your 500 words or whatever they're restricting you to. So yeah, that's the start. And let's look at our agenda today. So our little introduction here, and then this series is the first. It's going to be 3 in this series. So here we're focusing on the written content and how to use AI ethically and responsibly there. But I'm also going to be doing 2 more. I'm going to do the next, I'll put the link in the chat for the next event, and that will be on doing your deep school research using some AI for that. And the final event will be using AI for your interview prep. So yeah, we'll have 3 in total for this. And then our second after the introduction will be understanding AI in the context of MBA applications, and we'll look at ethical and effective AI usage in essay writing. I really want to emphasize the importance of authenticity in your applications, and so not turning it all over to AI. That's what we're going to talk to and work on a lot today. Is really keeping you at the helm, you in charge, and AI is your little assistant on the side, and making sure you are always coming through. Of course, the content must always be yours and not generated by AI. Then we're going to go on to I'm going to present some weak and strong prompts and the different results you'll get from different AI, depending on how you're inputting your information. We'll also look at some examples of AI written versus AI assisted essays, and you'll see the difference between the kind of generic response of an AI generated essay and something that's really written by the candidate, that's very strong, very authentic, and just real. At the end, we'll have a short best practices recommendations and then Q&A. But like I said, ask questions all the way through. That's totally cool with me. Let's see. So AI in your MBA applications. Sure, as you saw, a lot of you on the Poets and Quants site, Kaplan survey of 300 MBA applicants recently said that 56% of MBA candidates are interested in using AI for their application. So a lot of people out there want to use it. They just don't want to break the rules. They want to make sure they're in compliance with what the schools expect, but it's tricky. Everything's changing so quickly. So yeah, I think it's great we're all here and it's an open discussion. We can all add our perspectives. How about, can anyone give me in like the chat a little thumbs up if you've already tried using AI in part of your MBA app? Has anyone used AI to generate ideas or to do some editing? I don't know. It'd be great if anyone gives me a thumbs up in the chat or something like that. I can see if you've ventured into the waters yet. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, cool. Lots of people already in the AI arena. Awesome. That's fantastic. I'll be very interested to hear your perspectives and what's going on and how good or bad you have found it as an assistant. Thanks for the feedback. I really appreciate that. So, of course, most business schools do support more or less the responsible use of generative AI. They have guidelines on their sites. Today, we're going to go by Columbia's. It's pretty much what most are doing across the board. So they want all the material in your application to be authentic and you to generate all the content, but you can use it for editing, for some idea generation, for some structural help. So that's the outline we'll be using today as our directive of what we will do and what we will definitely not do. And of course, confirm the AI guidelines for each of your target schools because they will vary and you want to make sure you're in exact accordance with any of them. Of course, the programs themselves are jumping into AI with both feet. A lot of them, Wharton has their MBA Artificial Intelligence for a business major. Darden has AI concentration. So it's all moving in this direction. It's just how we're going to get there and in what manner and at what speed. And of course, admissions directors have spoken a lot about what they think of AI in the admissions process. And there's people that really are pretty, standoffish. And there's people that are saying, yeah, I mean, it's coming. We have to be ready for it. And we have to all integrate it, respectfully into what we're doing. So of course, most of them are just saying, be genuine, be yourself. And then they're fine if you're using it as a tool. Of course, they have concerns about over-reliance. They don't want to be flooded by mass-produced, like, why do I want to go to Harvard, essays that have nothing personal in them. And they really stress the need for applicants to take responsibility for how they're using AI and take ownership of their own ideas and their own experiences. So they're really stressing that. I've even heard a couple admissions officers liken AI to MBA consultants and say it's just another tool that some people choose to use and some people choose not to. So I still think we're better than AI, but yeah, I get the comparison. We are a tool and we're all here to help you, get where you want to go. Okay, so how to use AI for application essays. In addition to just using it for MBA, can I get thumbs up from people that just use AI, like for work, for personal reasons? Like how many people use AI maybe 4 to 5 times a week on a regular basis? So I know how many people are familiar with the platforms and familiar with what we're doing. Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's helpful too. Okay, cool. So almost everyone, like at least half are very comfortable with it. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, if you're lucky, I mean, remember, if you're lucky, they're going to want to interview you, to meet you. And so you have to be you throughout this process because some of us look better on paper, some of us look better in person, but we all need to look like ourselves when we're sitting in that interview. So just keep that in mind the entire time so that you're staying focused on really being you. I think it's very important in this first bullet point to create and refine your AI voice. So you want to put as much information in whatever system you're using as possible to start because you want to give it a feel for who you are, your voice, where you're going, your goals, put your resume in. Personally, for me, I am not a good typist, so I just talk into a Microsoft Doc about everything about whatever subject I'm covering and then just paste it all or upload the doc to AI. So you do a lot about your professional experiences, formative experiences, your academic record, anything that you feel is really going to be key in developing this application. And not just for your essays, but for your short answers, for your interviews. And so that way AI has a really good feel of who you are. And then you need to talk to it. You need to ask it to ask you questions, to dive deeper, to help you find your stories and your themes. You really have to use it as an assistant and you have to push it. I personally use multiple AI tools, and I really encourage that. I use usually 3 main tools. I use Perplexity, Claude, and ChatGPT on a regular basis, and then I have a couple others I throw in there now and then for fun. But it's really good to get some different voices because they all have strengths and weaknesses, and they will balance out the kind of feedback you're getting. Just like you're going to ask different people for different advice in your life about different subjects, AI can work the same way. So yeah, don't be shy, dig in there and use a lot of them. Um, and um, you should also be prepared. For me personally, if anyone asks me like how I'm using AI, I will share exactly how I used it. And I think if you feel comfortable sharing that with the school, then you're on the right track. Of course, everyone's heard about the hallucinations. We have a couple examples today in our slides. It wants to give you all the answers you want, but it doesn't have it all the time, so we'll just make stuff up. So fact check everything. Of course, it's biased, so be careful with that. And it uses a lot of generic phrasing. So the phrases it finds again and again and again, it will feed back to you. And you don't want to sound like everyone else. You want to sound different, and be true to yourself. So be very careful about that. Of course, never input sensitive or confidential information. Okay, so now we're going to go through different prompts, weak and strong prompts. We're going to look at 3 main essay questions. We're going to start with the quintessential why an MBA and why now. And the prompts are really important. If you don't put the work into the prompts, it's not going to do the work for you. So a weak prompt like this, like these are for brainstorming, obviously. Given the information I've supplied, brainstorm ideas. It's just going to take the easy way out. It's going to look at the most common answers for why an MBA, why now, and spit those back out at you. But if you have a strong prompt where you've already given it all of your information, your resume, your journey, and now you ask it about a specific program, about what drew you to that program, and you give it a little bit more about what can you gain, what can you contribute in skills and knowledge and network, push it to go beyond this. And it's very important here in the strong prompt to supply links to all the school programs you cite. It will supply incorrect information and it will supply incorrect links sometimes, but at least it's a basis where you go click through. And in my opinion, don't just fact check, actually read about the program. It'll help you research the school. It really will help you get to know the school better. And also with the brainstorming, I think I meet a lot of candidates that they send me their essay and it's good, but there's a lot missing as I start to get to know them. And I'm asking like, well, what did you do for brainstorming? What did you do for outlining? And they're like, oh, no, I just know my most important story. I wrote it down and, here you are. And that's great. But there's a lot of nuances when so many of us live so much in the present. And there could be a lot of things you're missing if you don't do the legwork of brainstorming and outlining. So whether or not you use AI, I do encourage you to do that. And AI can be a great assistant in this realm because it can ask some really good questions that maybe you haven't thought of, and it digs something out that you didn't think was relevant in this situation, but really is. So yeah, I think that's it for this one. Oh, and also I have these links, these prompts, weak and strong prompts for brainstorming and for editing and for improving your outline and your structure for these 3 questions and for the 7 other most popular questions. So if you message me through Leland on my profile there, I'm happy to send you this. And it's a good starter point so you don't have to write all your prompts from scratch. It'll give you a good place to go from. So now we're going to look at some results of these prompts. So the weak prompt response here, there's nothing wrong with it. We're using an MIT candidate from a health background. And there's nothing wrong with this, but it's kind of just off the top of the head. It's generic. The person wants to advance their career, gain business knowledge, expand their network. I think the worst thing here is, there's nothing really glowing or exciting about it. But the worst part that AI generated is that it gave no information about MIT specifically. Like this could be applying to any program. And just like we all want to feel special, the program wants to feel special too. So right now they're just calling MIT a strong program in tech and innovation. I mean, almost anyone could tell you that's what they're strong in. So it doesn't really give you anything to connect with yourself in the school here. But next we'll go on to the strong prompt. This is just the first page of a 2-page response from the strong prompt. So you can see just like how much more information you're going to get by putting the work into a strong prompt, and how much more AI is going to work for you if you push it. So let's look here a little bit, zoom in a little bit so you can see a better. here you can see it's very specific to this candidate's past experiences. It asks questions about, like, to get you to dig deeper, to respond in depth, to build a better understanding of exactly what you need from your MBA program of choice. So it's not doing the work for you. That's the point. It's helping you focus and just find more of the correlations between yourself and your program. So yeah, whoops, sorry. No, apparently I can't. Okay, there we go. Sorry, like I said, my first time on this platform, so still getting used to it. Um, so yeah, so it's like some example questions asked here. It doesn't just ask general questions. It's looking at your experience and asking questions. So with this person, it's asking what specific business strategy questions emerged during this transition that you wish you had better training to address. So this helps you look at why an MBA. It's asking you to find that weakness. It looked at your resume, it looked at your professional feedback you gave it, and it said, okay, here might be a lack. Let's talk about that. That would address why an MBA and why MIT. And then it asked other questions like, how does this experience clarify the timing for your MBA pursuit, when it talked about this other project the candidate was working on. So it can dig in there and keep asking you questions. And of course, answer the questions for yourself, but also input the questions back to GPT or whatever you're using, so it has that information. So you put your original set of information there, but keep adding, keep adding, keep adding. And it's, a year ago, it was not very good. It had a memory of, someone that was not all with it. But now it's pretty good about remembering everything you put in there, and we'll keep reminding in our prompts to reference the information you've given it. So yeah, I also think this is great for preparing for the interview stage, because it really does help you look at all the ways you connect with the program. And this might not all go into your essay, but don't think of it as wasted work. I mean, all of this is knowledge about the program and knowledge about yourself that will come out eventually. So, just keep digging, keep researching, and keep doing it, and it'll work in the long run. Okay. Oh, okay. So here's the outline for short and long-term goals. So this we're looking now to, we've already done the brainstorming. Now we want the AI to help us with our outline. And so the weak prompt, use everything I gave you, generate an outline. The strong prompt, you're really digging in there and you're looking at your professional story, you're reminding it to check all the information. And then you want it in the outline to look at a logical connection between your past experiences, your current skills, and your future ambitions. You're asking it to take specific elements from your background and demonstrate these in specific and detailed ways. I want you to highlight your unique path, give clarification. And this is very important at the end. I hear ask follow-up questions to make sure the outline is personalized and compelling as possible. Ask it to ask you questions, because again, it will just stop. It just does its job and it stops. It does its job and it stops. So you have to keep pushing it to do its job better, to do its job in the way you want it to do its job. Of course, it can give you misinformation. It can also give you advice you don't like or you don't understand. And, thanks so much, Natalie. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Yes, I work hard on my prompts. She just said these are great prompts. So yeah, message me and I'll send them to you. So yeah, if you get advice you don't like, you don't understand, ask it to justify itself. And most of the time it can. Every now and then I get like, oh, it will. I've never had it say I'm wrong, but I've had it say, oh, maybe this is, a better better way to go, for instance. So yeah, challenge it. Just don't take what it says as like, this is your story now, because obviously it's your story. So let's look at the outcomes for an outline for this. So we're looking at a candidate here from looking for Chicago booth with a background in finance. And so this is just, so generic right now. It's just, this candidate could be from almost anywhere, going to almost any school. They need additional skills. That's why they're getting an MBA. Why booth? It's got finance strength. It's just not telling you anything that's really going to happen in that outline. And the point of the AI outline is not for it to do the work for you. It's for it to do the structure and help you think about all the things that you might forget or you might leave out, or help you decide what's not important, what maybe you got really excited about, but the greater, bigger world isn't so excited about. So it can be just as helpful of excluding as including information. So then here's the result for, as you can see, much longer for the stronger prompt. So this cites very specific information. Um, and it looks at like the introduction, as you can see here, you look at a pivotal moment, and they make suggestions of how to open something, and they want you to briefly reference this and to give a clear statement. So it's all good information, but you still have to do the work. And I highly encourage you that you should not just copy and paste. Like sometimes you see something, oh, that sounds good, I'm going to copy and paste that into my actual outline. No, use your own words. Don't take it from whichever AI you're using. But here you can see it cites specific professional accomplishments of this candidate. How can I get these slides? If you look further up in the chat, I have a link. If you message me in Leland, I will send you a copy of all the prompts and the slides if you want as well. Thank you for asking. And so here it also it gets into your background and what's important there, but it also mentions things like the Restandi Center from the program, and it mentions a specific professor. So it really wants to connect you in this outline between this specific program and your specific history and your specific future. And it really wants to dig in there and make you think about these connections. So yeah, that's cool, I think, with that one. And of course, like I said, speak up if anyone has any questions along the way here. Okay, so and now we are looking at editing. And so here I have a question for you guys, if anyone's willing to speak up or ask questions in the chat or whatever. When you're editing your essays, or if you're thinking of using AI to edit your essays, is there something you're most concerned about? Are you concerned about losing your voice or over polishing or not having emotional depth? Or are you fine with it all, but you just don't want the program to know? Does anyone want to share maybe any concerns they have about editing or in using AI in general so far? And just you can unmute your mic and just jump right in, or you can put it in the chat, whatever sounds good to you guys. Don't want the program to know, feels taboo. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Erin, for supplying that. Yeah. And you're right. I think it is changing so quickly that I think it was taboo, maybe like right at the birth a couple of years ago of AI, but quickly it's not becoming taboo, and they're putting their guidelines up. So if their guidelines are on the website, then yeah, they are, clearly knowing and understanding you're going to use it. And yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think now, like I said, as long as you're authentic about you and you're willing to share your process of how you use AI and you're using it in the way you talk about today, I think that's okay. As long as you're going by your MBA's guidelines, as long as their program says it's okay to use it in the application and you go by what they say is ethical, then you're okay. Losing authenticity in admissions committee, knowing the writing is guided by AI. Yeah, authenticity. That's what I keep just banging on, and I will keep up on that. And that's a very good, Natalie, thank you for adding that. It's a very good concern. It's a very strong concern. And I think that really is important. Like I was saying in the outlining, it's not doing the writing for you. It's suggesting a structure, and you have to do the writing because authenticity is so important. And ad commissions officers are getting so good at spotting it from a mile away when it's generic AI content. So yeah, I think that's a very, very valid concern. But we can address that, and you can adjust as necessary to make sure that you do not lose your authenticity. And we're going to go more into that as we progress as well. Um, uh, and yes, okay, yeah, I know the AI can be so tiring to train. Yeah, I was going to mention that later, but I'll mention it now. It can be exhausting. Well, that's why you can message me for prompts. Those will help you a little bit on the exhaustion. But it is tiring, but you can get a lot from it. You can get a lot of great questions, a lot of insightful, thoughtful feedback. It really has come an amazing way in the couple of years I've been using it. So yeah, you're right. It's hard to train, and you're going to put time in training it. And you might decide that's not for you. You might spend a bit of time training it and think, you know what, I'm just going to go the old path and I'm going to stick to the way people have done it before. And that's cool. AI is not for everyone. I'm not here to sell AI. I'm just here to make sure if you want to use it, you feel comfortable using it, and you're using it in an ethical way that the school will accept. So like, don't feel pressure from anyone to use AI. And like I talk to my clients openly about it. Some people love it, and some people are like, no, please don't ask me to ever open one of those tools. I hate them. So whatever's cool with you, I think is cool with the process, as long as you're going by the guidelines of the MBA application. Yeah, loss of voice, and let's see, the chance of them creating something meaningful to us are really low since they don't feel. No, they will never create anything meaningful. You're right about that. You will create something meaningful because they ask you the right questions, and you will go somewhere that maybe you wouldn't have gone without it. But again, you're right. You have to train it to get those good questions. It's not going to ask you those questions just out of the gate. Yeah, it's all really good. Um, Okay, cool. Yeah, you're right about proofreading. Proofreading is essential. Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you all for that. I really appreciate it because that helps with the next part of this, and I make sure I'm staying on point and I'm addressing issues that are real for you, that I'm not just, stuck to my slides. And yeah, so I'm going to continue now, but keep posting things in the chat as you would like. And I really appreciate your responses. Very helpful. So yeah, like we're saying there, as we're getting to the editing prompt, now you have written your own essays. So you have done all the work. AI has not written anything for you. It has asked you questions. It has given you a structure. It has helped guide you. Maybe it's brought up some new issues for you. Maybe it's found meaning in a project you didn't know there was meaning in, or helped you find meaning, but you have done all the writing. Now you've written your essay. This has nothing to do with AI, but I strongly recommend just write whatever you want to write as far as length. Don't worry about, oh my God, it's 560 words. I only have 500 words. I often like candidates to start with 1,000 words to call back to 500. You want to get everything in there that you think is important, and that's one thing AI can be good at. Can tell you like, we could cut this. You could think about cutting that. You could reduce this word count by half. It can be a good little editorial tool as long as you're using it sparingly. Don't overuse it. But yeah, it can 100% help. And let's see. And AI does, I think the biggest problem, what you guys are all saying in the chat window too, is AI wants you to fit this mold, right? It looks at like what people write in MBA essays and it wants you to sound like them. And this flattens your voice. This takes away who you really are. And you don't want to sound like anyone else applying to this program. You want to sound like you. You want to stand out on how successful you've been, on how ambitious you are, and what you're going to bring to the world in the future with you and this program working together. So that's why you can't let it write anything, because you really need to keep your story true to you. But it can help you with helping prompt you to dig deeper into your story, or advance a different part of your story you weren't thinking about. So yeah, and also at the end here, you can ask it to give you suggestions, of course, about the editing. Forbid it to rewrite your essay. It wants to rewrite it. It wants to make it what it wants to see. So you can ask it to suggest specific improvements, but don't let it rewrite your essay. And then you can see here, we've numbered everything, like all the things are important to you. Make sure you've shown, both how you can influence and be influenced by others, identify opportunities you've missed. So yeah. Okay. Sorry, we got stuck there for a while, but you guys had such great feedback. Okay, so now we're going into the NCAD candidate with a marketing background. And this is examples of, kind of what response you've got from that editing week prompt. And you're lucky if you get this. I mean, most of the time, if you give it that prompt, like, please give me feedback on my MBA essay, it just rewrites the whole thing. It just takes over, it rewrites the whole thing. And then at the end, it will say, if you would like a different voice, a more formal voice, or a friendlier voice, let me know and I'll rewrite it for you again. And that's how we end up in this trap where we have this very generic, we've all been online and seen these posts, which are just ridiculous. No one actually wrote that post. It's just like mass AI generated content. So yeah, just don't let it rewrite it. If you're lucky, you might get something like this with a weak prompt, that it has a couple suggestions, but they're not really actionable. They say, recommend improving the introduction, or you could be more specific about this, but it's not really digging in to who you are, where you've been, where you're going. It's not giving you like really specific feedback. So then if we look at the more strong prompt response, here you'll see that we get much more here. So yeah, we have, sorry guys, just a second. Okay, so this strong prompt response, then it breaks down your essay like section by section. So it looks at like your leadership, approach, and values. This is the first page only. That's another page from this response. It looks at your core values. It mentions a weakness, and it asks you questions. It's not telling you how to solve this problem, but it's asking you questions to help you improve. And that's what you really want. And that's making sure you're staying, authentic and really who you are. It points out generic language because it knows that really well because it uses it all the time. So it says, hey, this kind of sounds like everyone else. You might want to change that. It gives pointers on when to add some more specific detail of this is a great start to your story, but we need more results. It advises some reordering. So, you take it under consideration. It's not always right by a long shot. So sometimes you might say, no, I did that order for a purpose. Like I want a flashback or I want this or I want that. So, you tell it, you're the boss, but it can be like that, little assistant in the corner saying, oh, but how about this? But how about that? And you might ignore 80% of what it says, but once in a while you'll get that true little insight from yourself because it sparks something in you. And it gives you actionable feedback. It actually, is asking you questions and it's saying, could you quantify this? Could you qualify this more? So it's giving you specifics of now you go in, it doesn't do the work. You go back into your essay and you do that work. Let's see. Okay, so now it gives you more advice here about how to trim the content. It draws attention. It draws attention to the phrases that seem candidate specific. So here it's being positive and it's saying, this is your voice. This sounds great. Can we get more of that? And it encourages deleting some of the standard catchphrases, business catchphrases. So yeah, I just think it's not, it's not ideal. It's not perfect, but it is getting better. And it's another tool in your chest. It's not going to do everything you need it to do, but that's not what it's there for. It's there just to be another helper. And it's also a helper that works 24/7. So, if you're working for someone like me and you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you have a great idea, you can run it by GPT first and, see what it thinks. And then we'll get together and talk about it later in the day. Um, so now that we've gone through, we're going to go next and we're going to look at the end products of using GPT or any AI in this way. Is there do you guys have a sense now? Do you feel like you'd want to use it more for brainstorming, more for outlining, more for editing? How do you guys feel? Can you just like put edit or brainstorm or something in the chat and kind of give me some feedback on the main part of the presentation here and see? Outlining. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've had conversations online, not in person, as far as the admissions committee members. I've read a lot of their posts on this. So yeah, and it varies, like I said, greatly person to person and school to school. And within the same school, there's people that are absolutely comfortable with it and people that are absolutely not comfortable with it. So it's really, I think, even within different AdCom committees, you see that I don't want to say disagreements, but some kind of posturing for how big of a role are we going to let AI take in our guidelines. Cool. Brainstorming, outlining, brainstorming for sure. Okay, cool. I've written essays, little blurbs organically, and then inputting them prompt paths, something kind of yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's great. Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Yeah. Okay, glad to hear that. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I appreciate the thanks. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's look at then some examples here. So this would be kind of a middle paragraph for the why an MBA, why now kind of that you got from a weak prompt. And so you can see here, even if you're doing the writing, it's going to come out as generic if you're letting AI lead. It's just, they just like all their things are so general. They need to develop business skills. It's just right with everything we've seen right along. It's taking that, brainstorming that outline, it's putting it in the middle paragraph answer, and it's just nothing specific. It's nothing about, it says expand my personal network without saying how. It says flow in lines with my background without giving any specifics. So it's just way too generic. Here we have, and none of these are finished essays. These I would all consider in drafts. This is just to show the process because farther you get along, in my opinion, the least AI you need, because like I agree with you guys, it's great for brainstorming, it's great for outlining, then you're writing your essay yourself. It's great for a little bit of editing and it can give some feedback here as well, but now it's really on your shoulders. So yeah, so these are drafts, not finals. But here it's better. It identifies a specific project, or you've identified a specific project. This is your work, sorry. But because the brainstorming, the outlining you did with AI, you have a specific project that you showed a lack in this, and you have this specific program from MBA from MIT that can address that lack. And so it also looks at different aspects here of like connecting you to the program. So I personally would take this further, and I would say how the candidate's technical product expertise can be applied to HLab. But that's the next draft. This is just kind of the first initial draft. And then here's a Chicago Booth example of the short and long-term goals. It doesn't illustrate natural progression of career. There's no details about how they'll develop their investment skills. It's a vague reference to what they'll get from Booth, but nothing specific. It's just not much here. Very lackluster, nothing exciting. I would read the first 2 sentences and put it down if I was at AdCom. Here, still is not perfect, but you have the bones now. You've written a decent paragraph here as your little AI assistant to help you with brainstorming and outline. You've got some good stuff here. So it demonstrates how past experience leads to current future objectives. It references the Rostandi Center. It shows a gap in the skill sets. It points out that how some of the research they found so far is going to help them in their post-MBA goals. So there's some good content here. It's a good, strong beginning foundation for an essay. And then the last example, the weak prompt INSEAD. And I have no idea, and the question is leadership example. I have no idea at all, like what kind of leader this person is, how they led. They just went with the generic AI, like mass-produced phrasing. So yeah, no quantifiable results. It's all generic phrasing. Here we have, again, the better example. Again, it's a draft, but at least the applicant now has, specifically how they work with different interests. It gives an outsider evaluation of their leadership skills. I personally don't like quoting people in your essay, but at least the candidate got that information in there. So that's something I personally would work on further and get the quotation out of there and show the evaluation in a different format, but at least the information is there. There's a lot of personal phrasing here, and they have quantitative results both before and after, which of course is, we know, all very important whenever you can get these in these MBA essays. So I think these examples in the essays all show that, we really do have good bones here with AI's help, but you have to do the work. You have to keep writing and rewriting and adding the information you need to add. So best practices and recommendations, like I said, start with your deep reflection, make sure you input a lot of information. Prompts will work differently in different AI and depend on your relationship with it. So, I said I keep putting my prompts in for different reasons in different places and get different answers, and then checking them in different ones. And it's just, it can be a never ending cycle. So you have to cut yourself off, and you have to know when to say stop. Just like I'm saying to you guys, you don't want to over rely on it. It's just something on the side as a tool. Seek feedback from your mentors, from your peers, from a professional. That'll help keep you on track too. So you're using AI as your assistant, but people that know you, know how you sound, know how you write, know what your values are, know your leadership skills. So show your work to them and get their feedback. Of course, stay up to date on all the school's AI policies. And AI, it's like, they say like, oh, a monkey could make a Jackson Pollock abstract painting. And then, the other side will say no, because a monkey doesn't know when to stop. It's the same with AI. It doesn't know when to stop. It will either always tell you there's more to do, or it'll be really, really nice and say, oh, you're perfect, I love it, no matter what you give it, or anywhere in between. So, you are in control. You have to tell it when to go, when to stop, and you are, the final director on this course. And yeah, if your prompt isn't working, tell your AI your goal and the problem you're facing, and ask it to write the prompt for you and feed it back to it, and do it in different AI programs, and keep working on your prompts that way. I mean, they really can write good prompts for itself. And I've learned from it how to write prompts. When I see what it's writing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a better way for expressing to it what I need to get done. Because I think we all start like we're going to be writing to our friend or whatever, like, oh, try this, do that. And it's not there yet. So it really can help you structure and focus in a way that it can be very helpful. Okay. Let's see, looking at a question in the window here. How should we use AI if we're working with a coach? Great question. I love this question because yes, that's what a lot of my other coach friends say of like, don't do this. Don't encourage them to use that. You're putting yourself out of work. But no, I think like we're seeing here, AI is a great tool just like we are. But there's a lot a coach can do that AI just can't do yet. Maybe it will get there, but in my experience, I haven't seen it do it yet. So I think like you can use it for brainstorming and then it will dig, but there's nothing like a personal conversation. There's nothing like a one-on-one. And someone that has also been doing this specifically for years. AI has that cumulative knowledge, but it's not personalized. It still is a robot. And so we all have our own anecdotal histories and we all bring that to the table. And I think that what makes our actions and our interactions beautiful. And I think you can, like you're saying, it's a pre-coach tool. I agree with you there. And do we use AI and you together? I think you do use AI. If you're comfortable using AI, I think you do use us together. And I think like I'm honest when I use AI, and if you're honest when you use AI, and we work on it together. And I honestly, on my side, I use AI very, very little for the input you're giving me. I think it should be on you. So you're doing your authentic content. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways we can work hand in hand with AI. And I have to say, a lot of people, um, you're welcome. I think it's very hard for a lot of people to stay focused just with AI. It's really hard after work, before work, after putting your kids to bed, after playing tennis to go home and work on your essay. But if you know you're meeting me on Monday morning at 9 a.m., and honestly, because you've paid me, when people pay for things, they're more likely to respect their time and other people's times. You're going to show up at 9, you're going to have your essay done, and you're going to be ready to talk about it. If you're accountable to GPT, you're like, GPT doesn't have any sense of time. I'll do it next Friday. I want to go out and have drinks with my friends. So I think it really can, like, it can be great, but there's nothing like a personal relationship to keep you on track, to be your cheerleader, to be there for you every step of the way, and to really be critical and extremely supportive. And I think that's something you can't get from AI yet. And I think hopefully it'll be a while for that because I don't want to be out of a job. I really love my job. Okay, so question and answer. I'm sorry, I've answered a lot of questions along the way. Are there any other questions now? Does anyone want to unmute and speak up or put anything in the chat window? And I have some questions for you guys if there's no questions, but I want to make sure I give you a little bit of time to unmute and speak up or put something in the chat. You've had a lot of great questions all along the way. Is there anything that still feels unclear to you about using AI in your essays or your written material? Is there anything that just still feels like a little bit questionable, you want to dig into more before we finish up? I have a couple more things to go through, but I want to make sure I give you guys a voice before I carry on. Okay. Okay, so I guess there's no one with any more questions. Oh, okay, cool. A question. I love questions. What are your recommendations for using AI after you've completed your drafts? I get the importance of getting human feedback. Does AI have a role after simple is AI have a role after simple is generation? So I think, like you're saying, after you've done your drafts, I have the editing prompts here. And like I said, message me and I'll send them to you. And I think, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I think, after you've done your drafts, like you don't ever want it to write anything for you. So you're giving it your drafts and you're asking it for specific constructive feedback. So if it's about why an MBA and why now, like in my prompts, you'll see there's like 6 different things you're asking it to address. You're asking it to address, like, I stated this point in time because of this. And then maybe you're not sure about that. How, is that appropriate? Is that the right timing? Or having your resume, it might say, "Ooh, this is actually a little bit of a sticking point." So yeah, I think you just need to ask it very specific questions about maybe concerns you have about your essay, and then very specific questions about like the school and your connection. But like you're saying, you don't just want to say, "Oh, edit this for me." It has to be things that come from your heart, that you're looking at your essay and you're struggling with these things, you're challenged by these things, and AI can help you with these specific things. But don't give it carte blanche. Ask it things that you really need answered. Sorry, I might get a little off point there. Yeah, anything else? Okay, so let's see. I have another event, like I said. Let me just put the link in here. for if you want to see about deep school research, because that is extremely important. So we'll do AI and how it can be your assistant when you're researching your dream schools. I really appreciate all you guys attending, and we're going to have our giveaway of my free hour of coaching, your choice, whatever you want to talk about, I'm up for. So, whoops, having a chat problem. Okay, so here's how to reach me. If you want to get the prompts, just message me on Leland. I also be giving a discount, $300 off my comprehensive MBA package. Excellent. I love the question too. Is there a link to this in YouTube? Yes, I would love you to share it. I would love you to come back and see it again. Message me on Leland. They will message me a YouTube link, and then I will forward it to you. It usually takes 2 to 3 days for them to put it up, sometimes a little bit longer, but message me on Leland, like I said, and I will get that to you 100%. Because yeah, I think we're going through a lot quickly, and you might want to pause and think more about the prompts and the responses and things like that. Thank you very much for the question. I appreciate it. So let's see. Review would be great. I would really appreciate it. I've only been on Leland about a month, so it would be fantastic to get a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, and a quick comment of what was helpful for you. Will help me develop and do even better in the future. So yeah, it would really mean a lot to me if you could do a review. Okay, so a giveaway, please. I'm writing a number between 1 and 10 on my paper now. So please put in the window any number between 1 and 10, and whoever hits my number first will get the 8. It's 8. Here's my proof of my 8. So I think that's Ayush. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Look at all these 7s. Lucky number 7s. Wow. Okay, so Ayush for number 8. Contact me after. Please message me directly on Leland, and we will have an hour of coaching, your choice, whatever you need help with. So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. Good luck on your MBA journey. Please message me if I can help in any way. I'm not just AI. I do the whole package, and I really am invested in helping my clients. And I'm still friends with people from 7 years ago that I worked with. So yeah, please message me about anything. And yeah, have an absolutely great rest of the day, or great end of the night. Thank you for the thanks. Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. That's really nice to see. And yeah, take good care of yourself, and good luck with the whole process. Sayonara. Bye bye, guys.